What's up, guys? Alex Staunch here again. Thanks for joining me. I just wanted to pop in tonight and recommend one of my favorite movies to you fine people, as I just realized its 30th birthday is upon us. What film is that? The Dark Backward, one of my all-time favorites. And it's from Adam Rifkin, who also did other classics like The Chase, National Lampoon's Stoned Age. He also did Detroit Rock City. Everyone knows that one, right? And anyways, this is not meant to be like a full in-depth history of the film The Dark Backward. Rather, just I wanted to touch on it and make sure all of my audience has seen it, as it is one hell of a flick. And again, happy birthday to The Dark Backward.
I'm reminded tonight of something that happened to me the other day. I went to the post office to get some stamps, and I waited my usual 3 hours in line. And just as I was getting to the window, an announcement was made that if anyone just needed stamps, to move into a different line. So I moved into the different line, and this giant boot came down from the ceiling and stamped me on the head. Ooh, do I have a headache?
When I'm talking my favorite film directors, it's usually a well-rounded affair, as there are many reasons for such, and trust me, I have many reasons. But I especially like these films from directors who are able to flawlessly survive in the industry while producing some of the strangest products we've ever seen. All the while, still staying a viable commodity. For instance, take Adam Rifkin. Let's look at his filmography a bit. As a writer, he started with films like Going Overboard, Mouse Hunt, Small Soldiers, Zoom, the underrated Underdog movie, all for the most part, family affairs with decent budgets. And not all were considered flops either. I mean, most weren't. We're talking some pretty big box office numbers. Then let's look at Rifkin's directing work. He started with a romp called Never on Tuesday, which is where Rifkin first worked with Judd Nelson and Charlie Sheen. Then he did stuff like The Dark Backward, Psycho Cop Returns, The Chase, Detroit Rock City. I mean, the list is still growing. I especially like National Lampoon's The Stoned Age. Needless to say, Adam Rifkin is indeed a film treasure, even when he's directing under his alias, Riff Coogan. But if I had to pick my favorite film of his, I just gotta go with The Dark Backward. It's so strange. A film about a timid wannabe stand-up comedian named Marty traveling through a decimated wasteland looking for fame, along with his absolutely repugnant best friend and trash man, Gus. And they find fame when Marty grows a third arm out of his back, and suddenly his stand-up career takes off. Which is why The Dark Backward is one of my favorite movies. Judd Nelson would essentially finally get the film made, as when he signed on, the picture was greenlit instantly, due to his fame at the time. Yet Rifkin wasn't sure if Nelson could pull it off. Marty's supposed to be the world's most timid geek. Essentially, Marty is supposed to be a neo-maxi zoom dweeby, not a Judd Nelson type. But Nelson fell in love with the script and was determined to prove his worth, even asking to do a few auditions. And get this, Judd Nelson would even go into elaborate disguises to test out the film's misfire punchlines at local LA comedy clubs, all to the crowd's complete bewilderment. I never anticipated in a million years that we'd be able to attract the cast that we did, says Rifkin. It was more of a shock to me than anybody. And that not only applies to the main cast, there is one hell of a supporting cast as well, all due to Rifkin's persistence. Seeing as he was already assembling a stellar cast, he shot for the stars, literally. Adam Rifkin went after the legendary James Caan, who was fresh off of Misery. Of course, Caan turned it down multiple times, and only agreed when he was relaxing at the Playboy Mansion pool and received a phone call from Rifkin, yet again, asking for his involvement. And James Caan was just so impressed with Rifkin's detective work, he finally accepted. Cool ass dude. And when they offered a minor role to Wayne Newton, Newton replied, "No, I don't want to play a small part. I want to play a big part. I want to play the agent, because I've known a million guys like this throughout my life in show business. I want to play this guy." So basically he asked to play the third lead, which, blew the minds of the whole cast and crew, and they accepted. And ironically, Newton's character is one of the more memorable parts for us hardcore fans. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. Also, Martha Dumptruck from Heathers is in this, ironically. And Rifkin even used some personal connections, like he graduated with Laura Flynn Boyle, who simply said yes whenever she was asked to be in the film. Thanks, Laura. And the film would land the spectacular Alterian Studios for effects, who Rifkin decided upon after seeing the operating table zombie in Return of the Living Dead 2, which definitely scared the shit out of me as a kid. We've talked about them before, Alterian Studios, as Chet Zar has done some amazing work for them. Check out those videos down in the comments. However, the makeup work here would be done by Alterian Effects leader, Tony Gardner. And, the effects still hold up fantastically today. The film looks like a trash wasteland, which is exactly what Rifkin was going for, and which is why the crew would haul around trash from location to location. And hell, man, it really works, as the world building here is unlike anything you've ever seen on film before, at that point at least, and, on this budget.
In Los Angeles, filming continues on The Dark Backward, a dark comedy from 23-year-old director Adam Rifkin. The film stars Judd Nelson as a garbage man trying to make it as a stand-up comic who suddenly becomes famous when a mysterious third arm grows out of his back.
And The Dark Backward would also be the first time we see Blumps, the fake company that's in Rifkin's films, here as a company who makes literally everything. Think everything except shoes from Freaked, only in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The Blumps logo and gag would appear in nearly all of Rifkin's films from there on out. I remember especially in Detroit Rock City, that's where the girl was eating when she sees Jam go into the church, and the logo is actually Adam Rifkin's own grandmother. Bill Paxton, he really did have a love for genre films, and he made an impact unlike any other American actor has in our history. He picked his projects wisely and was always a genuine guy. I mean, things like this film, Terminator, Weird Science, Near Dark, and one of my personal favorites, Frailty. I mean, I can go on and on about Bill Paxton's career, but, it's a colorful one indeed. And what else can I say? I sure do miss him. Paxton was a huge fan of the odd, the obscure, and of the dark backward. Whenever we were together, we would have a great time. Last thing he told me was that he was a little nervous about this surgery he had coming up. And I said, "Oh, it's going to be fine. It's a very common surgery." He said, yeah, he knew, but he just feels a little nervous about it. Those words will haunt me forever. Bill Paxton passed away from a stroke in February 2017 after heart surgery. The film was released 30 years ago today, and it just gets better with every viewing. I see the cult of Dark Backward growing in the future, and I for one would love to see Rifkin revisit the characters, or, at the very least, the setting and the landscape and stuff like that. But I mean, I love seeing anything the dude does.
Nelson feels the special effects are the true stars of the film.
The arm is the leading character of the piece, to a certain degree, or the malaise which manifests itself as the arm.
I asked Adam Rifkin for a few words for this video, and I figured you guys would like to hear that. Here's what he had to say. The Dark Backward was the first screenplay I ever wrote. I was 19 and was unburdened by any knowledge of how Hollywood worked and how to actually get movies funded. I just knew it was a movie I would want to see. It was my purest script, and that I didn't inhibit myself with any concerns about castability, financeability, or if it was a film that would make any money, because those things never entered my mind. It was purely written from the heart. That said, I didn't believe that I would be able to ever attract any movie stars, so my strategy was to cut through the clutter and, was to write something that I thought might be unique enough to draw attention. After a great many fits and starts, the producer Brad Wyman was able to get the script to Judd Nelson, who was a bankable actor. When he attached himself, well, we were able to get the film funded. It was perhaps the easiest shoot of my career because I was given the freedom to make whatever film I wanted. The company who funded it didn't care what I made because of the stellar cast we had managed to assemble. And, the paltry amount of money we were spending to make it. As a result, I was left completely alone. I was too young and naive to fully appreciate how that was, though. When we finished the film, it was pretty universally hated. Still is, for the most part. That said, it did have a few key supporters. And for the few loyal fans who have appreciated it, and helped to keep its title circulating on the cult circuit, and, who have enabled it to continue to be rediscovered, I am truly grateful. Looking back at the film, if there's one thing I'd change, it's the running time. I think it's currently over 100 minutes long. If I were to make it today, I would make certain it didn't exceed 80 minutes. But that's mainly because my patience has dwindled in my old age, and, I have learned the hard way that discipline in the editing room is key. Anyway, thanks to Staunch TV for continuing to help spread the word, and to all the loyal fans, new and old, who have supported the Dark Backward. Go watch Underdog again, that movie rules. And by the way, check out Giuseppe Andrews' work I didn't realize existed before researching this video. Also, go see the Dark Backward right now. There have been a few releases, and there's also a great commentary track that cannot be missed. I plan on making a video chronicling all of Adam's films in the future, at some point, as I'll be watching to see what Mr. Rifkin has coming down the line. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, all that crap, and hey, go watch a Bill Paxton movie tonight.
I remember, I think I just finished shooting the movie, and I had to go in and do some ADR, some voiceover work for Predator 2. And what was so bizarre is I went in to do the voiceover, I had a small supporting role in that, and all that came out was guys. They doing it. And they literally had to send me home, wait a few days. The director couldn't believe it.
Rest in power, Bill Paxton.